I took the road less traveled by. It's a quote from the famous poem by Robert Frost, The Road Less Taken, which shows how much the topic of the route and the road is central in American art. This idea of the road is also very much important and relevant in the theme we're going to address today: traveling, territory, and borders. Okay, so the idea of expanding on a territory and being limited or sometimes inspired, motivated by borders will be addressed in this third theme of the curriculum in Terminale for the LLCE classes. So 6 keys to succeed first, consisting in 6 landmarks or like general ideas that can help you make yourself way more comfortable, for example, when considering the notion or the theme, should I say. So A, tales of exploration, of course, of escape, of adventure. All this is important. So B, apprenticeship novels. Okay. C, like being uprooted, taken from a place and left in another one. Okay. Wandering, returning home. Why not? Okay. To wander, W-A-N, sorry, instead of O-N, when you ask yourself a question, is to walk without a proper aim, a proper destination. So D, positive migrations. The Grand Tour, for instance, in British literature. So roots and heritage are 2 big ideas that could also be considered in this theme. And the last but not least, traveling without moving. Sometimes it doesn't take moving or using a means of transport to actually travel, and we can see how much art can make it possible. Okay, so 6 keys to succeed are also helping us with the different illustrations I'm going to address now, you know, illustrating these ideas, these big ideas that I mentioned earlier. So Jack London, sorry, The Call of the Wild, very, very famous novel, and why not the short stories by Morgan? Actually, I know that sometimes, especially when you get ready for the oral examinations, it's difficult to read so many novels and sources. So using short stories could also be a good strategy to make yourself more relevant and to have time considering the whole text before choosing an excerpt. So B, another novel, To Build a Fire, okay, about adventures and, apprenticeship novels. So Everything That Rises by Flannery O'Connor, very interesting novel too. Daniel Defoe, of course, Robinson Crusoe. It's, I don't know, it's an unforgettable in this topic. And Castaway, the movie. When you think about Robinson Crusoe, when you think about a movie adaptation, I think Castaway springs to mind. And it's a very famous movie, sorry, with great actors in it. So C, H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau, very good novel too. J.D. Salinger, A Perfect Day for Banana Fish and for Esme, 2 different novels that could be considered relevant in this theme as well. Okay, Mary Prince, The History of Mary Prince, a West Indian slave, is a work taken from Caribbean literature, explaining the fact of being uprooted for real. I mean, it's very short, it's really interesting. It's almost like the Confessions of Nat Turner, sorry, on which the movie The Birth of a Nation by Nate Parker was based. And it's really interesting to consider this. The next work that springs to mind is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster, which is typically representative of the Grand Tour, this moment in each and everyone's process of maturity that used to be taken by wealthy families, especially wealthy families in England, back in the day. So this movie is typically representative of it, and the use of different guides. It was the beginning of tourism, yes, properly speaking. So Merchant's Ivory's movie, very interesting too. I mean, A Room with a View, the movie. And then History of a 6 Weeks Tour is also another typical novel in this theme. The next point is about some sort of a heritage, okay, in Scotland. Sir Walter Scott wrote about Waverley, and it's about the heritage of the place and how much this story has to do with the Scottish culture. Very, very interesting novel too. E.M. Forster, Howard's End, is about social classes in London. For those who study, for example, the Buddha of Suburbia in class, it's a very interesting novel to connect to it because it's also about social classes in England. Another time, of course, but still very interesting and relevant. Braveheart is a movie about Scotland as well, and The Road Not Taken, that I mentioned at the beginning, okay, which is a very famous poem by Robert Frost. So the last part, which is the most original, and I wanted to add my little something to this theme, telling you about traveling without moving. Very interesting, isn't it? So Grey Gardens is a very fascinating story of a mother and her daughter who spend a lot of time in a room avoiding all the notions of keeping a room clean and different things. So it's really interesting to consider this documentary to learn a bit more about them. I thought about Paul Auster's novel, Travels in the Scriptorium as well, and of course the famous classic by Shirley Jackson, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. Okay, so now to connect it to the different classics that you are supposed to study in LLCER, we could think about Jane Eyre, of course, and you will see, you can see it in the video dedicated to this very work. So Paul Auster's Moon Palace also, the Buddha of Suburbia as well, moving from the suburbs to the city, and The Searchers, okay, which is a movie, a Western, okay, going west. I really hope the elements I've mentioned in this novel will help you all guys go west, young men, or young guys, should I say. Thanks for watching and see you next time.